Okay, first article inspection reports are typically reports generated for inspection and quality purposes. And how they typically are done is whenever there's a prototype component made or initial runs for production or sampling, they'll take the print and they'll put symbols or they'll manually annotate a printed drawing and then document each of those items in an Excel document or manually on a grid paper and then take measurements and then classify whether the part is conforming or not. It's really kind of a painful process to go through. So we actually added some functionality to speed that process up. So this is basically what you can do. So we're going to create an automation here that will generically generate the annotations on the prints, classify them, and put them with the right labels for all the dimensions, and then port them to an Excel document in a completely automated fashion. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by erasing memory. The next thing we want to do is we need a table to kind of write our list of drawings to. So we're going to call this draw list that we want to process. We'll put this on Wow tab. So let's go get the list of files using the table option here. In this case, I'm just going to go grab all of the foam components. So anything that has foam in the name of it, it's a drawing. We're going to go list those and put those to the draw list. Then as a final step here, let's go ahead and open, let's use the right open command. So a table model open, and we'll reference that table that has whatever that content is and open it up. So we'll do TBL : draw list. Okay, so if I run this, you'll notice that it's created my tab, it's created my table, it's put my content in there, and if I come over to Creo, check in session, you can see that we actually have those drawings loaded into session. Okay, so let's take a look at what it takes to get the FAIR reports. So I'm going to look at the table model FAIR export, and it requires a table as an input. So very much like we used a table for the table model open, we can use that for this draw export FAIR also, except it has a different column requirement. You can also use your own symbol if you want to. Just use our symbol or our Excel document as a reference for whatever you're creating for customization, and then a target directory. So we'll call that target directory FAIR reports, and that's going to be a subdirectory that's created within our working directory here. And because we're working with an automation, I want to just make it a little bit more painless. So I'm going to do a dir delete and a dir create for that subdirectory that's there. That's just going to ensure that whatever we run for the changing content will always be written fresh. So let's go get this output name set up correctly. Now we already have a table here, and we can't add output name to just this table because this table is going to be repopulating with the list files function. But what we can do is we can use this table as a reference to build a new table. We're going to use Power Query to do this. So I'm going to call this draw list final. And we're going to take that item root column that NitroCell automatically generates, and we're going to add a new column to that. We'll call this output name. And we'll use that item root and simply add in, let's say, a FAIR underscore to the end of it. That's going to be the output name for what we need. So let's go a file, close and load to, and we're going to drop this here on this worksheet also. So as you can see here, we've got a table that's being written by NitroCell, and then we have a query to that table that is being that's transforming that information into a new table, which is called draw list final. So I'm going to copy that name. Let's go back over here and say, okay, that table that I'm going to read from is draw list final. Now, because we are including Power Query, if we have to be careful about this. If we do not update the workbook in this process, it's just going to walk right through. So if we change the list of files that it's getting, the match pattern here, it's going to run whatever was last known for Power Query. So we're going to actually force this to refresh all of the workbook connections in Excel just to ensure that that step is done properly before we run. Okay, so let's go ahead and press do it. And you can see here that it's loading each model, it's applying the symbols, properly naming them and lettering them, and it's created our FAIR reports for each of those. So if we take a look at, let's see what's in session here, version of that. So we go take a look at this drawing here. So we've got 478, this one right here. So if we take a look at this, you'll notice that every dimension that is listed here is related to the symbol name that's there. And it also includes what type of dimension it was, the base value, tolerances, plus, minus, so on and so forth. And if we come in and we say 4.5, you can notice that it says that's a good dimension. If we enter in something different, it'll flag it as false. And you've also got some default values here for like how did you measure it, the ability to put in comments. So this is a very, very handy way to kind of document and capture things. But one question that comes up in people's minds is, well, wait a minute, I've got these drawings in Creo. I've got these out here. How do I kind of just put that into a better quality package? Well, nice thing is we already have a PDF function which allows us to export the drawings. So I'm just going to use that same table list and export my fair reports there. And let's just open this up and say empty star.draw. Let's do empty. So I'm going to go and process all of the drawings that start with MT in this particular folder. And it's going to loop through each drawing and each sheet and report and annotate every single dimension that it finds, and then generate the Excel reports for each of those too. So as you can see here, it's generating the Excel reports first. It's keeping all those drawings with their annotations in memory. And then it's going to go through when it's finished generating the fair reports and then export the PDF files so that we have those too. So this directory, when it's complete, could also be zipped up and then passed off to somebody else or copied to a different hard drive location. NitroCell can do all that stuff to really just kind of streamline the automation process even more. So it should be getting, yep, there it goes. It's generating the PDF files now. So if we come in to take a look at, let's say, this lower housing fair, and we can see all of the symbols that have been added. And then if we take a look at the Excel document for it, we can see that we have all the dimensions for that also and their locations and their letters that are perfectly correlated.